Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about our guest today. Richard is an author. He wrote a book, I believe it was last year or the year before, called Mission Mother Earth, Peace Through Geobiology. He is a master geobiologist, dowser, teacher, and healer. Welcome to the show, Richard. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you, Bernard.
Well, it's very, very nice to have you back on today. And the work you do is so inspiring to me and to so many people around the world. Can you tell us a little bit about geobiology? What is geobiology for our listeners that don't know what it might be?
Okay. For me today, geobiology is a means to an end, the end being the betterment of the planet. And let's talk about geobiology. It's a study of the negative influence that we get from the earth and from our environment. How does the environment influence the human being, the animals, and the plants? Now, we're concerned mainly about the human beings. And what you can learn from geobiology is that it can be corrected. We correct all the negative influences, which can be from underground water, from underground faults. It also can be from something that we're not too familiar with because it's not something we can see. It's called cosmotelluric chimneys, or for short, chimneys. Why the word chimneys? Well, they come out of the ground and they go up, just like a chimney would. Also, they go underground. And their main function is to exchange the negativity that is present in the planet with positivity which is present in the cosmos. So these things are doing a continuous exchange of energy, taking the negative energy out of the planet, bringing in positive. These chimneys they were originally installed by the planet itself, by the earth itself. And they can also be created by man, such as what you have in churches and cathedrals. They can be also, and they have been created by extraterrestrials. And they also have babies.
Oh.
Yeah. When they're big enough, they can have babies. I discovered that there are male chimneys and female chimneys. So there you go. And I also
Very interesting.
Yeah. And for one male, you may have like 5 or 6 females, which is not a bad deal.
Not bad for them.
Yeah. These chimneys do not have any consciousness. In other words, what they do is not something that they want to do. They just do it. And what they do, if they're usually negative in homes, they make us sick because they're taking, like I said, non-consciously, they're taking energy from our body. And this is why many people have difficulties in going to sleep or waking up in the morning very tired. These chimneys move around the planet on the Hartmann and Curry grids. And when they find a house with people living in it, they just stop there and position themselves on beds or in the living room or any other place where people have a tendency to stay for a period.
Mm.
In empty homes, homes that have been recently vacated or that do not, uh, homes that have not finished constructions, you will not find chimneys. They sense our energy. There you go.
So they're attracted to life force energy.
Absolutely.
Ah,
To
okay.
our life force, yes. And these are negative. In churches, cathedrals, synagogues, in mosques, you will find positive chimneys.
Now, let me ask you a question, Richard. When you're talking about negative chimney and positive chimney, are you relating to the type of work that they're doing, that they are exuding negative energy and exuding positive energy, or are they taking
Well,
in the positive or taking in the negative?
I believe that both the positive and the negative frequencies, chimneys, sorry, have frequencies which are either good for us or not good for us.
Okay.
Okay. For example, from the planet, you can get positive energy from the Earth, and that is like 3.5 gigahertz. It's like, people now they know about computers, and they have all kinds of speed and so on. So a giga, it's like 1,000 million, and that's a high frequency, and that's good for us. This frequency. On
Right.
the other hand, you have another frequency coming out from the planet, which is 35 gigahertz, and that's no good. That's negative. So negativity, positivity, you can express in terms of what it does for your body. How does it influence your health?
I see. I see. So how it affects the environment? How does it affect the people living in the vicinity of the chimney?
That's right. That's right. So now that's one thing. Well, you also have underground water.
Yeah.
Underground water can be at a depth of 1 meter sometimes, it happens, or it can be like 250 meters. And the water influences us because basically the gamma rays,
Right.
which come from the cosmic space, bounce off the water and come back and hit us.
And how do the gamma rays get down there? Are they just a part of the Earth energy from the core, perhaps, or?
No, well, they are gamma rays coming from the core, but those rays do not really bother us. They're not a problem. Those that are a problem are those that come from the sun, from the cosmos, from space, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we are bombarded continuously by these rays. Now, these rays, these particles, these gamma particles, they have a tremendous force, tremendous power, like 100,000 kilo electron volts.
Wow.
100,000 electron volts. It's very, and their mass is that of an atom. So it's like you're putting a tank into a grain of rice.
Wow.
So these rays come through from space, and they can pass through us, no problem. They keep going down to the earth, and they keep going.
Ah, okay.
The minute they hit underground water, the water molecules reflect part of the ray and absorb most of it. Okay? So
Mm.
now you have a weakened, um, this weakened gamma ray, which is coming back again through the earth up to the top. And if you're there, well, your body is like 70% water. So that's going to stop it.
Right. Right.
And when it stops it, then you have what you call ionizing radiation, which is going to change the the cell structure in your body. Hence, you're going to start developing cells, which are your cells, but cannot function like they used to, and we call that cancer.
Okay, I see.
Or it can be an infection. It can be anything, but that's what happens. You got those gamma rays. You got underground water. The same is true for cracks, faults, underground faults. You have gamma rays coming from the center, from the core of the Earth, which is a very high temperature, and they go up. And when they find a fault, it makes it easier for them to go through,
Right.
and they can hit part of your body, And if you sleep on a fault, in the morning you wake up, you have a pain in your arm, pain in your leg, and it's like that every night. Also, very detrimental to your health, especially people who have problems with their knees, where the cartilage goes. The reason being is that if you get hit in the knee with gamma rays, it will prevent the cartilage from reproducing, from renewing itself.
Oh,
That's it. So much for those things. Uh, Geobiology is not going to help you to sleep better, to live better, not to be under stress all the time.
right.
People who are under stress all the time, fighting for no reason, people who don't sleep well, people are all the time tired, people all the time sick. Well, the reason is coming from the earth, really. I mean, after all, man was not born to be sick. We were born to be healthy.
Yeah. So it's fair to say that most of our illnesses, whether they be man-made, uh, environmental destruction, man-made destruction of the environment, and or just the natural energies of the earth. If you're living like over one of these faults or something like you're mentioning, is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. If you, most houses, most places on the planet have underground water running.
Right.
And this
Right.
is your public enemy number one, you know, underground water. And it's kind of a paradox. We cannot live without water. If you
Yes.
don't
Yes.
drink, you're going to die. But yet, because of water, we are sick and we can die from the water. And this has been proven in many, many experiments, like many, many, many years ago. It's not something from this century, even.
Right. And I find it very interesting because of the work of geobiology as well as, and I guess comparing to the work of those who work with the energy lines and the energy grids of the Earth. Some, I believe, during in the energy grid field of study, that when two underground water crisscross, where they cross each other, that creates some type of energy vortex. And I'm wondering if that would be
Yeah.
positive or negative. If
No, it's very negative.
okay,
Yeah, very negative. In open space, let's say if you have underground water or faults or anything, very negative. Everything is negative. The minute you take these elements and you bring them into a church or a synagogue or in a mosque, the structure is going to transmute this energy from negative to positive.
so
Okay.
by is that because of the focus of the divine source, or divine energy? Is that what we?
Well, it's even it's because the structure of the place, and I think also because the intention put on that place during construction.
Ah, I see. I see.
Yeah, it's like a dolmen. The
Yes.
church is
Yes.
like a dolmen. Yeah, and amazingly, I have discovered, and I also give conferences on the subject. I compare the three major cultures, the three major buildings in these religious cultures: the Christian, the Jewish, and the Muslim. And I found there is no difference whatsoever in the techniques, in the energy design of these buildings.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you had the opportunity to compare or research this type of work dealing with perhaps some older structures like monoliths or, well, you said dolmens, passage grave, pyramids, anything like that? Is
Yeah. Bernard, this is kind of uh, asking a doctor, uh, did you, are you a general type of doctor or do you specialize
right, right,
in liver problems or in heart problems and things like this? I cannot stretch myself too thin.
right, right.
And mostly I deal with geobiology proper. I don't go into things like dolmen because that's also a full-time job.
Yes, yeah. We had a
Yeah.
researcher on last week who studies that
Yes.
actually.
I understand. I know a lot about things like this, but I don't get involved with that
Right.
too much.
So you haven't had the opportunity to see if that it transmutes the energy like we were talking about?
Oh yeah. I can tell you that dolmens transmute the
Oh,
energy
okay,
because,
okay.
yeah, what happens, like even as far back as 4,000 years ago, people like the Celts, I take that as an example, and many other people that did it, they used to detect underground veins,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew already that people sleeping over underground veins, they get sick. So what they used to do is find them with a hand. Once they found them, they used to put the dolmen over the underground water, and they used it for two purposes. One is to transmute the energy from negative to positive, therefore having the current flow going under the village, carrying positive energy. And number two, they use dolmens uh, as tombs, temporary tombs. They would put the
Yes.
bodies under that, and after a period of 30 days, they would take the body out completely positive, all negative energy removed.
Mm.
Well, yeah. So, uh, interesting about those things is that they used to take these big stones, some of them weighing several tons. They would make like a table, left side, right side, and a plate on top.
Mm-hmm.
And that was tremendous physical effort in order to place those things, even cut the stone sometimes.
Yeah.
And today, we can do that mentally, without having to resort to anything. And I asked the reason. I said, why did they do that? Why didn't they use the mental? Well, it was a question of conscious development. They weren't not at that stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now, bringing us back or bringing us up to the present time, I would assume we have many areas around the world that are emitting negative frequency, emitting negative vibration, and this is some of the work that you're doing to what is it to perhaps rebalance or bring positivity to these places.
Absolutely. Uh, like I said in the beginning, geobiology for me today is a means to an end. The end being to bring peace on earth, just like the book says. And this is something that I was told by channeling quite a few years back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that I, together with my
Richard, I don't know if you've moved,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
can't
I'm
hear
here.
you.
I'm back. Yeah, that
Okay.
was my son calling me on the phone. Sorry about that. I hope he doesn't call again. I don't know how to block it,
Oh,
but yeah. Um, what happens is that let's see, where was I? Yeah, it's an end to a means. Yeah, several years ago there was a channeling that says that together with other geobiologists, we will weave a cloth which will profit the planet Earth, and the Earth will give us back. And essentially, this is what's happening. I use geobiology today in order to teach people the basics and then how to work with the
mhm.
mental capacities. And in order to work with the mental capacities, you have to develop certain, I wouldn't say talent, but you have to develop certain capabilities.
Skills. Yeah.
Yeah, skills. And so, um, having started to do the work by myself several years back, having done countries such as Pakistan and Brazil and Mexico and so on and so forth, that really needed it because they were getting close to having a destructive environment.
Yeah.
So, having done that, then I started to work with people because it was becoming overwhelming. And I taught my people how to work with their skills also in order to work on countries. Uh, when Fukushima came along several years back, I didn't have any real interest in doing anything until I heard that it was getting close to the United States, the radiation.
Right.
So I said, well, this is a time to do something. So then I started to work on Fukushima, and I was successful in the work I did in order to increase the negative energy there. And then I was told to do another 8 sites, which I did. And then I asked my students, would you like to work on the nuclear reactors for France? And I got a group of people together and we worked on the nuclear reactors for France. And we did that also for Spain. And then, okay, let's start to work on the whole of Europe. We worked on the whole of Europe. And then we worked on the rest of the world, North Korea, South Korea, Japan. Well, so were some places in Japan I didn't do, and India, and you name it, South Africa, whatever. Okay.
Right.
And the last country we did was the United States. Okay. We did also all the nuclear reactors in the United States. And that increased the level, the energy level of the United States substantially. Because what happens when you have a nuclear reactor is that there is radiation, there is negative radiation from that reactor. Let's not be fooled. It can be measured. We measure the entire site before in becquerels, which is 1 unit of measuring radiation. And then when we finish, we measure again. So for the site, we may have something like 2,000, 3,500 becquerels per hour. When we finish, it can be down to 200, 300.
Wow.
And the energy level of the site can go from a negativity to a high positivity. Not only this is good for the people, but it's also good for the planet. Okay, and this I know for a fact.
Of course.
That because I was asked at one time by the Lemurians. Not that I communicate with Lemurians, no, not directly. But they said that at Fukushima, there was still radiation they could feel. You know who Lemurians are?
Yes, yes.
They live on the ground.
Yep, yep.
They're energy. They're only energy, not physical. And so I did something like to put a big sphere of white energy around the entire place. And then I asked, how is it now? They said, now it's better. So putting a sphere like this after completion of everything else we do, that's part of the work we're doing. And all the sites have been documented. If anybody asks about a particular site, I can pull out the particular document and say this is who worked on it, when he worked on it, what he measured before, what he measured after. It's all complete.
Ah, very good.
Altogether, we did 517 nuclear sites on the planet.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know we had that many.
Well, that's what there is.
Wow.
Yeah. We did 517 and we finished that project of nuclear reactors. Now, the one that we're doing now, we just started doing it, and I have like 19 people who volunteered to work with me. These people are from all over Spain, France, America, and so on. And we're working on the United States of America.
Very good.
Because my contention is the United States of America is a powerful nation which guides and which gives direction to the rest of the world. And right now, the energies in the United States of America are very low.
Yeah.
Very low.
Richard, we're coming up on a commercial break. Hold that thought. And we're going to continue this.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
And welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We were just speaking with Richard about the work he is doing here now in the United States after covering much of the planet's nuclear plants. Richard, you said you had felt that the energy of the United States was kind of like at an all-time low, perhaps. The negative energy was a little getting too strong, perhaps.
Well, yeah, it's. I didn't measure negative energy. I measured positive energy. And to give you an idea, in France, once we finished working on the nuclear reactors and the high energy places, we got up to like 62,000 units of energy. Uh, well, this level is a little bit down now, around 52,000, but it's still very high. For the United States, I measured like 5,000.
Oh,
Yeah. So usually countries that after we finish working on them, we get something like 30,000, 35,000.
okay.
That's a comfortable level.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a negative level like this, I once asked, I said, what would happen if the level gets lower? And they say, well, when it gets close to zero, like for example, Mexico was like 500. Some other countries like 300. See, well, there's famine, there's violence,
Yeah.
there's murder, there's war. It starts to influence people, and people become a little bit crazy. And this is why the United States got to have a little higher energy level, actually much higher
Yeah.
energy level, in order for people to live comfortably without stress and without violence and things like this. And this is what we're striving for. And this project is going to take about, I gave the people like 1 year time.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, because we got 50 states, and each person gets a state one at a time. And I don't want to press them because they got their lives and their things to do. And I concentrate the entire effort. I manage the entire effort, and that's it. And I think we're going to see some changes. It's like this: when you work on a home and you change the negative energy that's there. In this case, it is negative energy. It's very low.
Mm-hmm.
And you increase that energy, the people feel the difference. The people feel better, they sleep better, they're healthier, there's no stress in the home. So I would imagine if we do the same thing for an entire country, it's going to be acting in a similar way.
Yes, yes.
So,
So I have a question for you, Richard. When you say working on, what type of work are you doing for these sites to raise the energy? Is it? I'm assuming is it etheric, astral, energetic, all of the above?
well, it's like this. Let's say you take the state of Idaho,
Uh
right?
huh. Yes.
And for that state, I found that we need to find 6 sites. So the person that's assigned the state is going to take now the map of the state and start to look on the map for crossings. First longitude, he's going to look for 6 places, and then latitude. And then he's going to make crossings.
Mm.
Does this point correspond to this point? Yes. So you make a crossing there. Does this point connect to this point? No. So it doesn't. So by actually coming up with the coordinates, you're going to find 6 different sites,
Okay.
and then using a program which allows you to see the planet and increase the view and so on, we get down to a level of seeing houses and trees.
Okay.
And when you get down to that level, then you start to ask how many chimneys, these are positive chimneys, how many chimneys do I have to look for? Most of the time it's 3, sometimes it can be 4. So then you start again to look with the pendulum for 3 or for 4 chimneys. Once you find those chimneys, then they probably form a triangle, let's say, if there's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is that you uh, energize these chimneys.
Yes.
You make them alive. You make them double the energy, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And they increase in size, they increase in energy. And once you've done that to the 3 chimneys that you're working on, then you interconnect them. So now they form a triangle. And the energy starts to flow among the chimneys. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's one site.
Right.
Then you
Right.
take the other sites for the state. And when you have all the states, all the sites together, then you interconnect them by saying, do I connect this side to this side? Yes or no. Do I connect this side to this side? Yes or no. Then you come up with an array. And then you see that this array has a high level of energy, And I get all the documentation from people. I get the reports, and I actually plot the sites on a big map that I bought
Mm-hmm.
from National Geographic, a very big map. And then once the whole project is finished, I make the interconnections between each one of the states.
Ah.
Okay? Then something I didn't tell you or your listeners is that I connect this project, like I have connected the other projects, to a line of energy which circles the Earth. And I refer to that as the cosmic serpent line.
Mm.
This is a line which I worked on many years ago. I discovered it through the one of my students in class. I was teaching geobiology in a class of Feng Shui. And she said, you know, there's a line going around from Damascus through Israel all the way to Gaza. I said, oh, yeah? Tell me about it. So I actually plotted this line according to the instructions that I got from that student. And I saw that the line had a very low level of energy. This is the time, 1982, something. No, not 1982. 2007 or 8, when there
Mm-hmm.
was a war in Lebanon and so on. And there was a lot of negativity in that
Yeah.
area. So I worked on that line as same as I would work on a house. And I unblocked the line from all kinds of what do you call it, plugs, energetic plugs that were
Block
there.
blockages. Yeah.
Yeah, blockages. Yeah, that's the word. And then the line got a high level of energy, and I was happy. The color changed from gray or black; it changed to white. Okay,
Nice.
great. Then I put that aside for about 2 years. And one day, I guess I got the trigger. And one day I said, okay, if this line goes from here to there, and I also found out that it went through the Ivory Coast, then maybe it goes around the world.
Yeah.
So I plotted it around the entire planet. And I plotted it every time it changed course. Then I took down the place where it was and I measured that particular place. And lo and behold, a lot of places had blockages also. I proceeded to unblock this line and the energy started to flow. And we had like 34 million uh, energy units in that line. So then after that, every time I worked on a country or whatever the project was, I made a connection between that country and the line at a specific place in the country and at a specific place on the line.
Ah.
The line is very high level now.
Right. Right.
I don't remember, but I think it's around 1,500 million. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, Part of the things that are connected to this line are doors to four different constellations.
That was going to be my next question. How do we connect to the cosmos? Are any of these connected? Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. The first one that I connected uh, without knowing about the line or without working on line, that was the one to Sirius,
Wonderful.
and that is because I was told through channeling that at the particular site where I was working, there was a door to Sirius. I didn't pay much attention at the time. I put it aside and that was it. And then one day I decided to drive like an hour and a half without really knowing why. I had really no real target, but I went to that site again in Israel. And then I asked, is this a door to Sirius? And I got a yes with the pendulum. So I went to work there, and sure enough, I found it. So that was the first connection that was done from the planet to Sirius. I opened that door. Then I looked on the map for another one to Orion. And I found that. And Andromeda. I found that. Andromeda is in the States, I think.
Mm.
And then there was another one, the Pleiades. The Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
That also I found and connected. So every time I made the connection like this, the constellation, the level went up of that line for that line, and substantially. Well, and after that, also the level went up for the planet. because whatever happens to the line influences a lot the planet.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Now,
yeah, that's work.
it's amazing, and I can't help but I guess my next question is there were there any, or have you discovered any connections from other galaxies or constellations that are not necessarily on that line that may have been here, for tens of thousands of years? I just can't help but wonder if, with all the help of our cosmic family out there, if perhaps maybe they've also created connections to us on their end.
Yeah, it's true. Um, to talk about those that are connected, they were there.
Yeah.
But there was in Eritrea, in Africa, there's a point. In Australia, there's another point. In
Oh,
the States, there's another point. You see, in Israel. And these connections were always there. The only thing I did was to discover them and to activate the place
oh,
and then to make the interconnection with that particular constellation. All that with the mental. Mentally, it did all the work.
wow.
Now, there are other two that I know about that I have to work on. And then there are another four that I was told I need to find and work on them. So it's a lot of work, but and I have priorities. So
That's wonderful. Now, have they explained to you? And I understand that your goal is to bring peace on the planet through this work. But is there perhaps will that help the evolution of human consciousness as well?
absolutely, absolutely, yes, yes. And people, I was told by the extraterrestrials that I was told that people who read my book, they increase their level of consciousness. You see,
Yeah, I can
and
see that.
yeah, and I'm interested really in fulfilling my mission, and that's the most important thing for me to fulfill that mission. And well, the book is there. People want to order it, they can order it, but that's it. That's my job is to do that work, to do that work, and in order to do the work, I need help from people, and that's why I teach them today.
Right.
I teach them so that they can progress in the learning, and then I give them a special course which is free, how to work with the planet,
Oh,
how to
wonderful.
work, yeah, and how to work with nuclear reactors. Well, that's finished, so we don't have any more nuclear reactors to work on. But to work on different countries, I still have that course. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And so, anybody that's listening, if they have an inclination to work with you, how do they contact you or find out about these courses?
Well, you can look on my site. Uh,
Geobiology.co.il.
yes,
Oh,
or you
wonderful.
can look and you can Google my name, Richard Benishai, and you'll find pages, and among those pages, you'll find also my site.
Hmm.
Um, and that's it. It's yeah,
And you work with them personally, or do you teach classes at a location? How does one learn
yeah.
how to do this work?
I teach classes. I have planned already for teaching United States next year. I have taught already United States several times,
Uh huh.
but next year we're going to be in California, and then in North Carolina, and then Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes, and those dates will be exposed when I finalize them. Uh,
Wonderful.
yes, my courses are very unique. Um, this is information that I get feedback from my students,
Right.
not that I came up with the idea myself, but uh, I teach people how to do the harmonization of a home complete without moving anything, without adding anything, without having people do all kinds of transformations and things like this. Uh, with
Right.
this technique that I teach, there is no such thing as, your house is in terrible shape, you got to move out.
Right.
You know, when you hire people to work for you, it's not for them to tell you got to leave. It's obvious if you don't feel well, then you're going to move. But what happens is that with my techniques, then you don't have to move. You don't have to change anything. We don't add anything. We don't remove anything. The work is done by the people without any special tools, or we just use pendulum, we use antennas and graphs, and that's it.
And so you basically neutralize or balance the energy. Is that fair to say? Neutralize?
Yes, we
Yeah.
neutralize the negative energies, whether it's from underground water or faults
Right.
or chimneys we take outside the house. Okay, we find them where they are, and we take them outside the house and position them on the crossing of Hartman, which is easier to find than Curry, and that's it. And then we do also a special process. You may call it a ceremony if you like, where we use the different beings like the creator and the angels and so on, Mother Earth,
Mm-hmm.
nature spirits. And after we do that, then the energy is increased. We take care of every negative energy possible in a house, whether it's souls, yeah, which are trapped there,
Yes,
or
that was going
black
to be one of my questions. Yes.
or black energy, which can be like black magic, can be
Mm-hmm.
voodoo, can be evil eye, curses, or energy, negative energy in the walls, energy due to televisions, radios, portables, and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. It's even the neighbors. We take care of the negative energy from the neighbors. Telephones, bases, the cellular bases around
Right.
you.
Like the electromagnetic fields and whatnot.
Yes, yes, negative electromagnetic. Yes, we take care of that also in the same process.
Right.
Everything goes to zero. It's amazing. It's amazing. It doesn't matter if you measure 20, I measure 30, and the other guy measured 40. When we finish this, everything goes to zero. Everybody agrees on that.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And people sleep better, people feel better, people are better, and that's it.
That's wonderful. And so you incorporate this to utilize on your Mission Mother Earth projects that are revealed to you, I guess, as you finish one project, another project is revealed to you, kind of.
Yeah, we go and we do one country after the other, and I give preference to the United States because it is a leading country.
Right, a world power. Yeah.
Right, right. Yes, I'm an American citizen. It's,
Right,
since
right.
I was 18,
Ah, okay.
I served in the army in Vietnam, and and I lived there for many years, and so it's kind of a shame that I read the paper and I see all kinds of problems, with the fightings among the people, the killings, this and that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's escalating quite a bit, It really is.
So
But
hopefully,
I can't help but feel that it's kind of exposing all the corruption in the American system at the same time, though.
hmm
So as
yes,
they expose it, people are getting angry, but and
yes.
unfortunately, the negative energy can get higher. But
Okay. There's another thing happening which is important, Bernard. Before we close,
yes,
uh, we the human beings have been putting negative energy for many thousands of years in the planet.
yes,
Okay. What's happening is that we're not the only people living on this planet.
right,
Okay. Under the planet, you have intraterrestrials.
yes,
One of them that I know are Lemurians.
right,
They are others. And because they're not physical, it doesn't mean they don't exist.
right.
Okay. An example of non physical that people can understand is the spirit.
Right. Richard, we have about 1 minute left.
Okay. So they are what you call entities. And these entities attach themselves to the aura of a person.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And they make that person do all kinds of bad things
Yeah,
that they usually don't do.
yeah.
So once in a while, I even checked once the president, and I saw he had two entities. on him and some negative energies. So I clean him up.
Oh,
I clean him up. Yeah, yeah.
good.
I've done that also for the people in Iran. Did that also for the leader of North Korea. And once I've done that, then the things kind of got better. Because a person, when he has entities on him, he doesn't act rationally.
Yes.
It's not him acting, you see? And there are thousands and millions of people on the planet which have these entities. And they come out from the earth because the earth is very negative, and they come out to get cleaned up, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they get on you in order to get cleaned up. You see, they take your energy, they make you do crazy things, they make you sick, and so on. So that's it. That's another point of view that you have to look at.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Richard, for all your time today and for all the work you're doing on the planet. Everybody, please go to geobiology.co.il for more information.